Oi, you! Yeah, you! I'm gonna get a bunch of people to sue you just because I don't like you and I don't like what you've been saying. Welcome to Shill Busters. Somewhere in China, in some shitty city called Nanning, lives some pro-CCP old geezer who's partial to the odd beer or two. Now recently, this old geezer made a crummy video where he's trying to convince Asian people to sue Serpentza and Laowhy86 because apparently in their videos they're spreading anti-China Asian hate messages, whatever that means. Now, this old geezer, he didn't mention their names in his video, but it was obviously about them. And I think that he didn't mention their names because he doesn't want to get sued himself. So anyway, because of that, I'm not going to mention this guy's name. I'm not even going to show one of his clips or anything about his video. But what I've done instead is I've done a reenactment of this guy's video so you guys can guess who I'm talking about. But I'm pretty sure you've already guessed who it is by now, right? Anyway, check. So in this pro-CCP old geezer's video, he used an example of how Donald Trump is getting sued for $22 million by some Chinese-American civil rights group because apparently he was spreading Asian hate when he called the coronavirus, the China virus, the Kung flu, the Wuhan virus, whatever he called it. So the news article that this old geezer is referring to is from May of this year, which is quite a while ago now. And I don't think that we've heard anything else about this case, which suggests to me that the attempt to bring a court case against Donald Trump has actually failed, because I haven't heard anything about it, not one thing, and I searched the internet thoroughly today to look for it. Now, I do think that Trump is wrong to call it the China virus. We really shouldn't be singling out Chinese people like that. What Trump should have called it is the CCP virus. That's right, the CCP virus. And I think that's quite an acceptable name for the virus, considering it was the Chinese Communist Party that covered up the initial outbreak of this virus and allowed it to spread around the world as quickly as it did. So this old geezer, this pro-CCP YouTuber, is trying to appeal to Asian people all around the world to sue Serpentza and Laowhy86 because apparently these guys are anti-China, anti-Asian, and spreading their message of hate in their videos. So in this guy's video, he tries to explain that Serpentza's video titles are a good example of why he's anti-China. But this guy, He's also made some really crazy videos with crazy video titles that could also be considered anti-China. For example, one of the videos is titled, "Is China a Country of Thieves?" Another one, "My Chinese Wife is a Dog." And another one is titled, "5 Disgusting Things Chinese People Do That Wouldn't Be Acceptable in the West." This is the double standard of this guy, you know, criticizing somebody else's video titles while at the same time making much worse video titles. Just go to his channel and have a look if you don't believe me. It really is ridiculous. So what I don't understand about this guy is why on earth is he trying to get other people to do his dirty work for him? If he seriously thinks that he can make a case against Serpentza and Laowhy86, why doesn't he do it himself? I'll tell you why he doesn't do it himself. Because he knows damn well it's a ridiculous idea and it's gonna fail. Okay? If he really thinks that this could work, he should get his Chinese wife to do it, you know, because apparently that hate is directed at her, right? So why doesn't he get her to sue them? He knows that this is gonna fail big time. So the only guy who's really stirring up hate is this old geezer who lives in Nanning, because he's trying to censor and cancel content creators just because he doesn't like them and he doesn't like what they're saying. In fact, this guy is really creating such a problem for any foreigner that lives in China because he's stirring up these Chinese nationalists. He's really getting them wound up so much that they're going to start hating every foreigner they see, right? Including him. So he's just really creating more trouble for himself. I really think that this guy has been in China for too long, and he really seems to think that the Chinese system of censorship of freedom of speech works in the West. I think he's just jealous of these two YouTubers just because they've done so much more than he has. And he's been living there almost a decade longer than they did, but they've experienced and done so much more than he's ever done and ever will do. Even myself, who lived in China for about 7 years, experienced way more than this guy. So one last thing about this old geezer who lives in Nanning. He says that making videos on YouTube is his hobby, but I don't believe that this is just a hobby for him. If it's just a hobby, how come he's not any good at it? How come he doesn't do any research? How come he doesn't even think about what he's gonna say before he makes his silly videos? His videos are just propaganda for the Chinese Communist Party, and all he's doing is perpetuating this awful narrative, this awful pro-CCP narrative, and he's stirring up the Chinese nationalists, and he's trying to cancel people, and this guy loves censorship. I suggest that this guy gets a new hobby because he really sucks at the one that he's doing right now. This shill has been busted.